It's Thursday, and this is the Sports Show with Mark Kiszla and Woody Paige, as presented by the Denver Post. We'll spend the next hour with you talking about all things Broncos and Patriots as we get ever closer to the game on Sunday. Is this a game for the ages or a game for the aged? I'm going to keep using it until somebody actually pays. I looked that up. Nobody's ever used that line before, so you'll probably see that again. We're going to start with the big stuff with Mark Kiszla, and what do you got for us?
Peyton is R-E-L-A-X-E-D. Nobody told me there'd be spelling in this show. He's relaxed, though. Jackie Mack is back. And we discussed the mind of Gronk and if the Broncos are in that mind.
You saw Peyton Manning yesterday. He called you over, had a personal one-on-one interview with you or whatever. And
it was a good, solid 2 minutes and 47 seconds.
And he wanted to tell you a story?
He did. It was a lot like being on this show, actually, Woody. I sat with my Uncle Peyton and I listened to a bedtime story. He wanted to tell me that when his second year with the Indianapolis Colts, he goes out for a coin flip in Tennessee, and he gets all discombobulated when old Bruce Matthews is out there and says, "Hey, kid, I played with your dad." And Peyton said, "My dad had told me he played with Bruce Matthews, but seeing a guy in uniform tell me that he played with my dad kind of shook me up." And then after the Pittsburgh game, he's shaking hands with Roethlisberger last weekend, James Harrison, and up comes Cameron Haywood. And he congratulates him, and Peyton says, "You're a great player, man." And it dawns on Peyton, "I played with your dad, Ironhead." And Peyton goes, "I never thought I'd be able to say what Bruce Matthews said to me."
I read that in your column this morning, and I didn't remember his father playing with Peyton unless it was in the Pro Bowl.
Ironhead's last season, he was with the Colts. Oh. And Ironhead didn't have a great season, but on the way out, Ironhead played for the Colts.
Well, turning back to what I was saying, did that give you an impression that Peyton is trying to enjoy this week? Or was he trying to make a point? He never talks about something without basically kind of thinking it out beforehand.
I could always tell if Peyton's rehearsed the line or he's working on the line. When he's working on the line, he kind of talks in circles a little bit. He kind of practices the line. But this one came, he was ready for Saturday Night Live of this story. And I think he's saying that he's accepted the fact that he's old, it's about at the end, and he's going to enjoy the ride. I think that was his agenda.
The question is, do you think he realizes, and I know you can't go into his mind, neither can I, do you think that he realizes or has considered to think that this could be his last game, not only in Denver, his last AFC championship game, his last chance at a Super Bowl, last time he plays in the NFL?
I cannot go into his mind, but as you well know, and you know better than I do, that Peyton Manning thinks everything through. And it would be hard for me to believe that he has not thought about this. A couple weeks ago, I asked him, "Hey, have you considered this could be your last rodeo?" And he said, "I'd be lying if I told you I haven't thought about that." So yes, I do think he's, Peyton Manning's not a stop and smell the roses type of guy. He's always on the move doing something. But I do think he's like, you know what? This could be it. He was a senior at Tennessee, and he knew when his last home game as a Vol was. He doesn't know for sure this will be his last game with the Broncos, but I think he's pretty darn sure.
Oh, I think he's smart enough to know that the Broncos aren't going to bring him back even if he were to choose to come back.
Right.
He had made a decision in college at the end of his junior year he was going to come back, so he wasn't in that situation. He I think he knows exactly what's going to happen here. The only time in his career that I don't think he knew what was happening was when he was in Indianapolis, and that he was hurt. He assumed that he could get back on the field in Indianapolis. I think he realized at some point he wasn't going to be with Indianapolis again, but he'd already played the game, his last game. So it was too late for him to enjoy his final moment. So I do think that he is sort of not smelling the roses, but he's bought the roses.
Right.
How's that? And he's ready to smell them. And I don't think he has totally faced reality yet in regard to that this could be his last game here. But I think he's aware of it. And I have, again, talked to someone that's close to him that says, yeah, Peyton knows that this will probably be his last game here, and it probably will be his last game in the NFL. I brought up yesterday, and I just mentioned this to you. Nate Kreckman sat in for you yesterday, and I gave him, and I'm going to give it to you. I'm just going to throw this in here, John. I said to Nate, let me give you 5 options. Next year, is he playing for the Broncos? Is he playing for the Houston Texans? Is he totally retired and not doing anything? Is he going to go into broadcasting? Or will he be the co-owner and general manager of the Tennessee Titans? If I put you on the spot, which of those 5 or none of the above or one of your own would you say at this time, a year from now, what will Peyton Manning be doing?
I like answer 5. Part owner of the Tennessee Titans and helping to run that franchise. I think that would keep him in football. I think that would engage his need to be very involved and active in whatever he does. And I believe that it will be hard for him to walk away, just as it's hard for everybody to walk away. But that would be the easiest route for him to go.
And I told Nate that would be a stepping stone to his next job, which will be governor of Tennessee.
Yep.
That he is Davy Crockett, he's Elvis Presley. He, in modern day times, Albert Gore, Estes Kefauver, you name Tennesseans, the first guy, Sergeant Alvin York.
Yeah.
I mean, he's really on that kind of level in Tennessee, and he also would be competing with his wife, who's a part owner of the Memphis Grizzlies. So,
it's all in the family, and it would be fun.
Okay, second question for you. I think he realizes it. I think that will actually relax him for the game. Mm-hmm. I think he'll play with less pressure than he normally does. That someone said to me today, the guy who used to own this newspaper, is in Alaska, Dane Singleton, and I called him and I said, I'm going to put you on the spot. You think you know more about football than me. Who's going to win this game? And he said, I'm glad you asked me that. I'm on the record.
Because he does know more than you.
And he said, I'm on the record.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I'm not interviewing you. I'm asking you.
Well, you're putting it on the sports show.
And he said, I am so totally convinced that it's 50-50. And I said, what kind of columnist are you? I was the owner.
Well, make up your darn mind, Dean.
He's selling his last newspaper in Alaska.
Yeah.
He closed on it yesterday. Will the Patriots' entire emphasis be on stopping the run and making Peyton throw the ball down the field? And can they get away with that?
Entire, maybe not entire, but 99.37% of it, yes. I think that's been the general defensive game plan since the Broncos lost in the Super Bowl to Seattle. And I think Bill Belichick will say, I'm walking up my safeties, I'm going to bump Demaryius Thomas at the line, I'm going to throw off Peyton's timing routes, and if he wants to throw it deep and outside, good luck with that. We'll see what happens.
I also believe that, yes, I think they're going to try to do that. But I also believe because of the new Peyton Manning, if we can say that, if we can say the new Papa John's, he is an owner of several Papa John's, we can say the new Peyton Manning is a guy that before, when he checked off at the line of scrimmage, he would check off from a run to a pass. I think now he's checking off from a run this way to a run this way.
That's interesting.
Think about that.
I think there's truth to that. It's funny, but I think it's true.
But I also think if they try and stop the run, here's something, because you and I both put thought in it, because I don't know that you're there yet, and I'm getting closer to where I think the game's going to go. But I also believe that the one thing they're going to try to do, if the Patriots stack the line, to stop the run, they're going to throw to Ronnie Hillman and C.J. Anderson a lot more. Both of them, or C.J. Anderson dropped a pass last week, but I think that he's going to try to utilize his tight ends more. I think he's going to try to utilize his running backs more in a passing game, that he'll check out of a run play into a short pass to C.J. Anderson out of the backfield. You're smiling at me, but
you are absolutely correct.
Cooney Lexus of Greenwood Village is Colorado's #1 volume Lexus dealer. I own Lexus from Cooney Lexus. I love their service department. I love their dealership. I love the people that work there. Play golf with them. Greg Stone has become a friend, and there's a reason why he's my friend, because he's a good guy and he does a great job selling cars. I can't imagine why I'm his friend and why he invites me to play golf tournaments with him, other than I'm just sort of the dancing monkey. They're conveniently located at I-25 in Bellevue. View the current specials and a large selection of new and certified pre-owned vehicles. You can go and see those at greenwoodvillage.com, or you can go out there to I-25 in Bellevue and see for yourself.
Hello, my name is Greg Stone, President and General Manager, and I would like to personally thank you for making Cooney Lexus of Greenwood Village the #1 Lexus dealer in Colorado.
Cooney Lexus of Greenwood Village. For exceptional customer service and world-class amenities, take in the beauty of the Rocky Mountains from our rooftop patio. Relax while enjoying a movie in our premium theater. This is the ultimate luxury car buying experience. Visit Cooney Lexus of Greenwood Village or Cooney Lexus of Colorado Springs. Click CooneyLexus.com.
Do you think that Skip Bayless, who I worked with for a few years on ESPN, you know Skip, you know him as a former columnist who's become whatever, he's become the skipper, really. He thinks that the Broncos have done the right thing this week, because they've gotten into Gronk's head, that they've talked about hitting him in the knees. And to back that up, T.J. Ward put him out of the season 2 years, 2013, when TJ was with Cleveland. He tore Gronk's MCL and ACL. And then we had, was it Stewart in the game earlier here this year that hit him in the knees and put him out of the game. Chris Harris has talked about his knees. You got C.J. Anderson saying he pushes off. He was called for, I think, 2 offensive pass interference calls in the earlier game here. And he's trying to respond with double entendres and stuff. Do you think they got him thinking about, when he catches a pass, what they're going to do to him?
I think their actions has gotten into Gronk's head. When he played here earlier this season, T.J. Ward tackled him low, Darian Stewart tackled him low.
Twice. Stewart got him low.
I talked to T.J. Ward yesterday, and Ward insisted, I don't pre-plan how I'm going to tackle a guy. And I believe that to an extent, but I also believe that they've decided to chop him at the knees is the best way to bring him down and slow him down. And I do think they have Gronk thinking about it, as well they should. If you get hurt by somebody chopping you at the knees, you could, even if you're as tough as Gronk is, that can get into your head. So I think your old buddy Skippy is right there.
Well, here's what happens, I think. He is so strong with his upper body that you're not going to be able to tackle. First of all, he's bigger than you. If you're T.J. Ward or Chris Harris or Aqib Talib, he's a lot bigger than you. So when you go to him, you're not going to be able to do a helmet to helmet. I mean, if you were even thinking about doing that, you're not going to be able to do it because your helmet is not at his helmet height. The only way you can bring him down is around the knees or from knee to ankle. That's the only way you can do it. But I think teams against Gronk put their linebackers up against him and are strong safeties and think that they can wrap him up around the midsection, and you can't do that. So I think it's going to have an effect on him. But I still, and I would just add one other point in thinking about this game and trying to lay it out in my own mind, and I'm not one of the premier experts at technique. You said that the other day. We don't really deal in technique as much as we think the game. And here's what I think. He's going to catch 4 or 5 passes. He's not going to catch 12 passes. So it's kind of like Von Miller may get 1 or 2 sacks, but he's not going to get 12 sacks. Gronk is not going to beat you by himself. He's not, I could think, the biggest consideration that they have coming off the line of scrimmage. That would be Edelman and Amendola.
So speaking of Edelman, Chris Harris back at practice. Do you think he'll be effective, a positive, a negative? And will he be good enough on Edelman to allow the safeties to keep an eye on Gronk?
I know this from my own experience. I've said this before about Peyton Manning in regard to his foot injury. Doctors will tell you over and over again you can have 2 cortisone shots. Then the area starts to break down. I think Chris Harris didn't have the shot last week. I think he tried to play without a painkiller. I think he's got 2 opportunities here, possibly, that this is where he takes the painkiller. That Roethlisberger admitted he took a painkiller, that it hurts a lot the next day, like a hangover, but it doesn't hurt during the process for 3 or 4 hours. I think Chris Harris is better than he was a week ago, and I think if it comes down to it, that he's not going to have a limp arm. He's going to actually take something to help him get through the game. This is too important for him not to do it. And it was, remember Aaron Rodgers about 3 years ago, he was having knee problems, and he could only take 2 or 3 shots, and he would take it at halftime and come back and play better in the second half. So I think Chris Harris is going to be effective. I think you're going to put him in the slot. I'm not in love with that idea. I want him on the outside.
Okay. I have 2 thoughts, and this is speculation. It's not fact. I'm not sure Chris Harris is going to be a lot healthier, and I have a suspicion that more than muscle or bone bruise, there's some nerve damage there, and I'm not sure a shot will help that.
Check out Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic because sexual issues can be symptoms of other more serious conditions like diabetes, strokes, heart attacks, high blood pressure. I'm not trying to scare you, but it's the truth. Prostate issues, stress, obesity, a variety of other health problems that can lead to sexual problems. They have at Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic diagnostic ultrasound, testosterone, and PSA testing, all to get you back into business, if you know what I mean. It's not just sexual health, though. It's total health. Alan and the guys and the ladies at Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic with one visit can help you out. Go to their website, RockyMountainMen'sClinic.com.
Is a lack of intimacy at home starting to affect your performance on the course? There are many factors like high blood pressure, diabetes, and high cholesterol that may be contributing to your erectile dysfunction. Get back in the game with one visit to Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic, offering same-day solutions for all erectile dysfunction and premature issues. And you get to try the medications containing FDA ingredients right in their office. Let the providers at Rocky Mountain Men's Clinic help you get your confidence back. And be sure to ask about the $99 limited time special. Call today.
Sports Show, Woody Paige, Mark Kiszla. Did the Broncos not show enough passion against the Steelers? And if so, will that change against the Patriots?
You and I talked about it during the course of the game. It was a subject of conversation among the people who cover the Broncos. For the Post, the Pittsburgh Steelers looked like they had a lot more fire in the belly, if you will. They had, I thought, more passion, and if that had been the difference in the game, I think we'd have looked back and said the Broncos, once again, against the Indianapolis Colts, were not paying attention to what was right in front of them. I don't think that's going to happen this time. Based on everything I've heard, everything that I've seen, watching Broncos huddle, your talks with various people out there, my talks, I think the Broncos have, I hate the word, but I think they have the focus right in front of them that this game is more important than any game they played this year. I think we'll see it. I think we'll see the fan base into it. I think that there will be an atmosphere there that at least shifts that part of the favorites role to the Broncos side.
When I watched that game against the Steelers, I didn't see a lack of passion so much as I thought the Broncos were uptight. I think they puckered up on us, and I think they played
butt tight.
Yes, I think yes. Cam Newton would say. I think they got really tight, and then I think the stadium got really tight because it's the Patriots, the hated Tom Brady rivalry, and because the Patriots are 3.5-point favorites, I think there will be some attitude. We're playing with house money now. You know, we get no respect. We're the underdogs. Let's go out and let it all hang out. So I'm hoping that translates.
Okay, I'm gonna give you a real quick short one. Who do you think should speak to the Broncos on Saturday night? Yeah, Kubiak's going to give his motivational speech. He's going to give his last speech, but they always call someone up Who do you think that will be?
I think it should be Peyton Manning. That's who I think it should be. And he says, fellas, he gives some version of this is the last rodeo speech, and let's go out and kick some butt and have a good time.
I was trying to think of who else it might be. I might bring up DeMarcus Ware, too.
Yeah.
I'd say, I'm going to give you the two oldest guys on this team, the two guys whose careers are winding down, even if you don't say this is their last games in Denver. And it's going to be the last game for both of them. DeMarcus Ware's not going to be brought back. So I would have one guy speak for the defense. That'd be DeMarcus Ware. He has never played in the Super Bowl. I think he can come from that standpoint. And Peyton Manning could say, guys, we've been there. I think Peyton would say kind of what he said to me 2 or 3 years ago. I don't think people realize until you've been there how meaningful it is to go there.
Yeah.
How's that for a line? So I think that I would have DeMarcus Ware, Peyton Manning, but I would agree with you. But I would try both of them. The day after every Broncos win, and that could be Monday, you get 50% off. It could be Monday or not at all. Ever again this year. After the Broncos win, get 50% off the regular menu price with your online orders at Papa John's. And you can do that by using the promo code Broncos. So on Monday, get ready to go online and get 50% off, or get ready to not get that discount ever again at the new papajohns.com.
For our Players' Choice Pizzas, we made the NFL players' favorite pizzas. Now you can eat like an NFL player.
If I can eat like a football player, I can talk like one, I can work out like one, I can even dress like one.
Look, you can eat the pizza. You just can't steal my shorts.
Up your game with any large specialty pizza, including Players' Choice Pizzas. Only $12 each.
Better ingredients, better pizza.
Better football.
At the new papajohns.com.
I didn't know we were having to go to physical therapy to get ready for an AFC championship. I thought that was for the players. On the line with us, my friend, my foe on Around the Horn. As I mentioned the other day, Jackie and I together probably have covered pro basketball for 70 years combined, and she
60 for you and 10 for Jackie, because she's way younger than you, old codger.
One of the greatest writers, I think, in the country, has written the definitive Larry Bird, Magic Johnson book, wrote the definitive Shaquille O'Neal biography, and she's joining us today. We're really excited. Jackie McMullen, who is so excited about this weekend's game, she's going to a shower and then take a plane, and she's probably going to be in a snow shower when she gets on the plane. Hi, Jackie.
Hi, Woody. How are you today?
Oh, Mark and I are excited to talk to you because we are sitting here undecided. We have not made up our minds yet. Have you reached the point? Are you going to even spend any time wasting your brain power to figure out who's going to win this game?
Well, of course I have to, because just like you guys, everyone's asking me every day who I think is going to win.
Yeah.
And, it's funny. Everyone's so obsessed with Manning right now and Osweiler. And to me, that's not even really what it's about. The way I look at it is, can that great Denver defense pressure Brady into throwing the ball sooner than he wants to, throwing the ball in an uncomfortable manner? Because everyone knows that's how you beat Brady. You get Brady, give him pressure in the pocket, and you make him react, because he's not, we know he's not super nimble. And, the Broncos led the league in sacks. I think they pressured teams 34.9% of the time when they play the last time they played the Patriots. So that's what I'm looking at. And, if I'm a Patriots fan, that would give me great pause.
Peyton Manning said this week that when he was growing up, he had a poster with Bird and Magic in real short shorts on his wall. And that was in response to the idea that is the Brady-Manning rivalry like Bird and Magic. Well, you would know better than anybody. Is it or is it not?
Well, there's some elements to it. I think the one thing that Brady and Manning have going for them is they played each other more often. Magic and Larry played once during the year, and then if they were lucky in the finals. And the other big difference was that Bird and Magic started out as adversaries. Well, they actually started out as teammates on a college all-star team that played some international teams, and they became friends. And then Magic thought, oh, well, this is great. We're going to be friends now. So the two of them, their senior year, they ended up playing each other for the national championship. And Magic thinks they're buddies, and he goes over to say, hey, Larry, how are you? And Larry just looked right through him, because that's how Larry was taught. You never, ever talk to the enemy. So they didn't like each other for many, many years. It took them a long time for their relationship to become what it is now. Whereas I think the difference between Brady and Manning is it's been good all along. You know, they've been friends, they've talked, they've been some confidants to some degree, and I would say that's the biggest difference.
Jackie, it's more than a small sample that Tom Brady is 2-6 here, along with Bill Belichick.
Right.
And I wondered, and I've tried to think about this week, and I'm being totally serious about this. I just wonder if the altitude actually is a factor, maybe more with Tom Brady, that quarterbacks have told me, God, and I hate to bring this up, but the ball does slide on them in altitude.
Yeah.
Do you think there's anything to that, or is it just because actually the Patriots are only a 500 team when they play on the road in the playoffs? I mean,
right. I think it's a little both, Woody. I mean, and you're right. That's a pretty telling statistic. 2-6 lifetime there. There is something to that. And you know, it was funny. I was wondering, would Belichick bring them out a few days early? And I was thinking if he did, maybe that was an indication that he was worried about the altitude. Clearly, that's not happening. So I give up on trying to guess what Bill Belichick is thinking. But I think it's a fair point to bring up. And I used to poo-poo altitude. I used to think, that's an excuse. That's just an excuse for people. But, you know, when you spend a few days out there, you guys are used to it. But it does take a while. It takes a while to sleep. It takes a while to get your breath properly. But I can guarantee you no one is going to use that as an excuse. I mean, Brady's got to win. They got to be able to win a big game there. I would think that he would consider that an important part of his legacy.
Well, you have to remember the only two quarterbacks he's ever beaten here are named Cannell and Tebow.
There you go. Right. A very good point. Yeah, but that's the thing. It's not just Peyton Manning, obviously. It was long before Peyton Manning that streak started.
Yeah, Jake Plummer also. So, I mean.
Over the last 15 years, the Patriots' best, most successful pro sports franchise in North America. 10 AFC Championship appearances. This is what I want to know. Is this one of the better Patriots teams of Belichick, Brady era? Average, low average?
Well, Mark, I think it would have been one of the best if everybody had stayed healthy, but that ship has sailed. You know, Dion Lewis was a revelation. He's so important to them in the early part of the season because he made them a two-pronged attack, which clearly they will not be now as they come into Mile High. There's no way they're going to run the football. You know that. I know that. Everybody knows that. So I don't think they're as good as that team that lost to the Giants in the Super Bowl, went undefeated during the regular season and lost to the Giants in the Super Bowl. Their defense is good, but it may not be quite on the par of, say, the Brewski and Vrabel and McGinnis and those guys. But before everybody got hurt, I thought this was the most fabulous offense that they had had in a long, long time, maybe ever.
Well, that's surprising to me, Jackie. But I will bow to your knowledge, except on around the horn. But I thought this was one of their worst teams of all time because they really didn't have a profound. Well, they had Blunt. They did have him until he got hurt, but they used to there's a guy that's in prison now. When they could put those dual tight ends together, that to me was because they could put one of them in the backfield and run him out of the backfield at fullback or something. Right. And I just thought when they had Wes Welker at the top of his game, even though he dropped that pass, when they had Revis, when they had cornerbacks, I mean they lost all those cornerbacks. Yeah.
But you know what? They haven't missed Revis very much, Woody. I'll tell you, the kid Malcolm Butler, who's going to the Pro Bowl, has stepped up, and the kid Logan Ryan. Those two young corners have been pretty good. And you know, it's interesting you mentioned Hernandez and Welker. Neither one of those guys have a Super Bowl ring, Woody.
That's a good point. So finally, you didn't tell us though. I'm gonna let you go with this. I know you got to get ready for your shower and finish your PT and get ready to come out and meet me for a drink on Saturday night.
Yep.
You bet. I'm pushing you right in the forehead. Who's going to win this game?
You know, unlike some of my colleagues in the media in Boston, I think it's going to be a really, really tight game. I do think the Patriots will win because I just don't know if Peyton can keep. I think what the Patriots are going to do is they're going to spread it out. They're going to throw 5 receivers. They're going to have an empty backfield, and they're going to go no huddle, and there's going to be a pace to that game that I think is going to be difficult for Denver and maybe difficult for Peyton in particular because, you know, these long snap counts that he has, it gives the Patriots defense, a
Sure.
chance to catch their breath a little bit in the altitude. So I love Peyton Manning. I really think a lot of him, but I just think this Peyton Manning, I'm not sure he can get it done.
Jackie, you make a great point. It's really funny that you think about a team playing against Peyton Manning at altitude would actually set a faster pace than the Denver Broncos are.
Right, and that is what they'll do. That is what they're going to do. There's no doubt in my mind, because they're not going to run the ball. And I know that's what Denver will try to get them to do, but you know as well as I do that's not going to happen, because for one thing, they don't have any running backs left.
Jackie, thank you. We'll see you on Saturday. I'll get in touch
All right,
with you.
Woody, Mark, have a great day. Nice
Okay.
to talk with you. Bye-bye.
We'll take a break for Molly Hughes and the news and continue.
Hello, I'm Molly Hughes in the Denver Post newsroom with new information that suggests the Littleton School District and administrators at Arapahoe High School hindered the sheriff's investigation after the 2013 shootings that left student Claire Davis dead. A Denver Post analysis of this independent report released on Monday indicates school administrators ordered investigators to stay in the school auditorium and wait for teachers and staffers to come to them to share their accounts of what happened the day an 18-year-old student opened fire. In depositions, staffers and parents expressed frustration and said the school and district administrators stalled the investigation for months after the December shootings. All the while, school administrators said they were cooperating fully with the sheriff's investigation. The report suggests administrators failed to track warning signs and failed to share information with law enforcement about gunman Carl Pearson in the months leading up to the attack. They failed to take seriously a death threat Carl Pearson made against the debate coach and teacher Tracy Murphy. And among other things, details of the depositions point to delays in performing internal reviews and district leaders struggling to provide investigators with complete files relevant to the case. You can read the entire independent report and see some of the depositions by clicking on the link in this story.
When you go to buy a car, what do you really want? You probably want a lot of cars to choose from. And you want the dealership's best price. Not some starting price or target price, the best price. And you want it immediately, not after hours of negotiating. And you want a salesperson who doesn't get paid more if you spend more. Because, well, you don't want to spend more. Well, you're in luck. John Elway wants all of those things too. Better yet, John Elway wants you to have all of those things too. Come see us or click on johnelwaychevrolet.com.
When the Nuggets win, you win at Papa John's. All season long, the day after every Nuggets win, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at papajohns.com by entering promo code NUGGETS. That's right. Just enter promo code NUGGETS online at papajohns.com the day after every Nuggets win for 50% off your entire online order.
Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Mark Kiszla, Woody Paige, The Sports Show, The Denver Post, and Trending Now. And joining us is...
My name's Hugh Johnson with The Denver Post. I'm a digital sports producer, and this is What's Trending Now.
Well, bring it to us.
Hey, guys, last night the Avalanche won a nail-biter against former Avalanche forward Ryan O'Reilly and the Buffalo Sabres. Francois Beauchemin, with 31.7 seconds, scored the game-winning goal to get a 2-1 victory over the Sabres. Guys, do you think the Avs made the right choice in making that trade?
No, but no, not at all. But they got revenge. Oh, retribution. Oh, we beat Ryan O'Reilly. So I guess they feel good about that. But they won a couple of games. They'll be going for 3 straight. Maybe they need to get in some kind of rhythm, though. And now, Mark and I kind of talked about it earlier in the day, and I'll let him take over with it. But I wish they'd have been able to work. I thought he was a valuable attribute for the Avalanche.
I'm not saying Ryan O'Reilly was their best player, but he was my favorite player, and I thought he was a very good playoff player because he played all 200 feet of the ice, and so I miss him. And so will I ever be for that trade? No, I won't.
All right. You guys talked a little bit earlier about the Broncos' passion, but what about their toughness? Guys, we all remember the quote from John Elway last year about kicking and screaming and being more mentally tough following the Broncos' stunning loss to the Indianapolis Colts in the divisional round. Today, Troy Renck has a story from John Elway he says that this is the tougher team, this is the tougher Broncos team this year. Do you guys agree? Why or why not?
I listened to John Elway today, and he flat out said that in the playoffs, even in the regular season, that you can play 30 minutes of less than great football, but if you're mentally tough at the end, in the fourth quarter, you can win the game. And the Broncos have done that time and again this year, and in Elway's mind, that's proof that this is a mentally tougher team than a year ago.
Defensively, yes, I would say so. Offensively, I don't think it's any tougher than last year. Mm-hmm. I would think with their veteran guards that have been Pro Bowlers that those guys would be tough guys. I haven't seen that out of them.
Well, you know why I don't think they don't come through as tough guys is because both of those players are having, by their standards, very difficult years, and I think they're having to deal with confidence issues rather than I'm going to push somebody around. I just hope I do my job.
I think if there's a tough guy on offense, only one, C.J. Anderson. He could play on the defensive side. I would like some more toughness out of Owen Daniels. I'd like to see that out of him. I thought Vernon Davis would come in here and be a tough guy. Maybe I didn't pay enough attention to him in his career. I thought he was a tough guy. He was a tough guy with a 40. At one point in his career,
Vernon Davis should be a wide receiver because in the NFL sense, he is a diva. He has talent, but he's a diva.
Yeah.
All right, guys, there's a new Broncos-themed beer coming to town, Spangalang Brewery.
When is it coming to town?
It
should
weekend,
be here.
Right?
Yeah. If you're coming to
Broncos
town,
have been here for over 50 years.
Like that other beer that was coming to town that was Omaha.
Omaha. This is
I
an
thought it was
Omaha.
coming in
What do we
April.
got? What kind of beer?
What do you like this one? It's called Orange Crushsicle, right? And it's got orange juice, bittersweet orange peel, and a dose of vanilla. Guys, how does this compare with Omaha from what you've heard?
Wait a second. If you want us to compare, you need to bring the beer.
I gotta bring
and you're
some
empty-handed.
Does it sound pretty
It sounds better than Omaha to me.
No.
It sounds kind of Blue Moonish.
I don't. Neither one of them do much for me. I kind of liked it when Kurt Vonnegut came to town, and people who know me know that I'm a gigantic Kurt Vonnegut fan, but he was from Indianapolis, and his grandfather was a brewer, and so John Hickenlooper brewed up some beer, and the secret ingredient, now we can tell it, the late Kurt Vonnegut told him, was coffee. Now, when you combine beer and coffee, now you've got some caffeine kind of going on with the beer and everything. But orange peel and orange in a beer, nah. You put lime in a Corona or something, but no, that doesn't. Neither one of those do anything for me.
All right, guys, that's it for me.
Yeah, they better hurry if they're going to get here by this weekend, because the other one coming in April. Tell them who you are.
My name's Hugh Johnson. I'm with the Denver Post. You can find me on Twitter at HughJohnsonDP, and this has been What's Trending Now.
Thank you. Live guest, he qualifies, appear courtesy of Papa John's the day after every Avalanche win. Hey, that would be today, wouldn't it?
Exactly.
You get 50% off your regular menu price, so go online. Hugh and I do that. You can build your own pizza. Use the promo code AVS at the new papajohns.com. 50% off today.
When the Avs win, you win at Papa John's. All season long, the day after every Avs win, you get 50% off your regular menu price online order at papajohns.com by entering promo code AVS. That's right. Just enter promo code AVS online at papajohns.com the day after every Avs win for 50% off your entire online order.
Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Four on the floor. First question. Should the Nuggets make any moves before the trade deadline?
I would. I think they've got...
you a buyer or are you a seller?
I'm both.
What?
I think that Randy Foye, I would get rid of him.
This is the last year of a deal?
Yeah, and there's one other player, Daryl Arthur or someplace.
J.J. Hickson, I believe.
J.J. Hickson. I'd get rid of the two guys in the last year. I'd try and get some assets in terms of maybe another draft pick, maybe try and get yourself another Will Barton out there somewhere, that maybe someone who's languishing on a bench with Portland or something. The Barton deal, I think, signing turned out pretty well. The deal they made, they got 3 guys last year at the trade deadline, and they dumped the other 2, and they kept Barton, and that worked out well. Yeah, I would do something.
They're in this homestand. They're 16-26. That's not very good, but as I've said many, many times, I think 38 wins is going to get some team in the West to the playoffs, the 8th seed. I think the Nuggets are waiting around through the end of this homestand to see if they think they could make a run at that last playoff spot. And when this homestand tells them no, they can't, then they'll consider being sellers.
I thought I wouldn't have this question all year long. Can the Avs make a run at the top 3 seed in the Central Division?
The Avs are playing better. The Avs right now are better than a 50-50 shot in my mind to make the playoffs, but top 3, no. In their division, it's Chicago, Dallas, and St. Louis. They're not catching any of those 3.
That's why I thought it was somewhat of a ridiculous question, and I don't know who came
But 4th seed passing Minnesota, that's possible.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. Hack Drummond. Did you think that was an interesting idea last night, how they sent in a sacrificial lamb and said foul him 6 straight times?
I don't like hack a Shaq. I don't like hack a Drummond. I don't like hack of anything. If you intentionally foul a player, I think the team that gets fouled should have the option to shoot the free throws or take the ball out of bounds.
How about this? That's a way to end it, is you take the ball out of bounds, you get the free throws, and you get the ball out of bounds. That's an old college basketball rule.
The counter is that, the defense is not out there to coddle somebody who can't shoot free throws, but I don't think hack a Drummond is basketball.
Finally, this has been my question all week. I sort of ask you off Legal Seafood, which is a famous chain of restaurants in the Boston area that has, in my mind, good seafood, or legal marijuana stores in Colorado. Who has the edge there?
I love chowder. I don't smoke, so I'm going to say Legal Seafood for my personal consumption. However, for your tax base, I would highly recommend legal marijuana.
As much as I think that Colorado's out in front there, and every other state's going to join Colorado except maybe 3 or 4, Utah, maybe Texas or whatever, but I think that legal marijuana has worked out well, as you say, from a tax standpoint, but I repeat myself. I thoroughly enjoyed Legal Seafood when I've gone to Boston. I know it's a chain restaurant, but it's not a chain restaurant like Red Lobster. It's a chain restaurant that is really good seafood, and I've always enjoyed my clam chowder there. So I get the best of both.
I don't think anybody actually takes a vacation to get chowder. That's all I'll say.
Four on the Floor is sponsored by, a lot of the people in conventions are not coming to Colorado because there's legal marijuana. You're aware of that there's the other side to that issue.
Yes, there is, sure.
Citywide Banks is family-owned, Colorado-focused. I've said this won't mean much to most of you, but you look around outside this building here and you see 50-story buildings that are banks. I like my banks that are small and intimate, and when I go there and I go to Citywide Banks, people have a smile, and they're your neighbors, and they deal with 150 charities in Colorado. They can help you with your small business, your big business. They can help you be Colorado-oriented. Citywide Banks.
I am Citywide Banks.
I am Citywide Banks.
At Citywide Banks,
we put you first by exceeding your service expectations every day.
Every day.
When you go to buy a car, what do you really want? You probably want a lot of cars to choose from. And you want the dealership's best price. Not some starting price or target price, the best price. And you want it immediately, not after hours of negotiating. And you want a salesperson who doesn't get paid more if you spend more. Because, well, you don't want to spend more. Well, you're in luck. John Elway wants all of those things too. Better yet, John Elway wants you to have all of those things too. Come see us or click on johnelwaychevrolet.com.
One of our favorite segments every day, except for yesterday, we weren't able to get to Madison's mailbag, but Madison Faulkner is here to enlighten us and inform us and educate us and ask us some questions and give us some responses to you on our Twitter account at The Sports Show, or at Mark Kiszla, or at Woody Paige. What do you got?
Okay, so yesterday we asked our Twitter followers what Peyton Manning will be doing next year, and these are some of the responses that we got. So the first one is from Jorgovan45, and he says playing golf with the rest of the retired.
Well, as we should mention, he and Brady like to play golf. They both play in the tournament that's out in
Tahoe?
Pebble Beach.
Oh, Pebble Beach, yeah.
Pebble Beach and
The clam bake.
And so they get together the week before that and practice in the Bay Area out there on the peninsula.
I don't play golf, but I want those sweet golf shorts that Peyton has in the commercial.
Yeah. Okay, so.
And then the next one is from SMycod11, and retired hanging with the Twins and glancing at his Super Bowl ring.
Ooh, there's an optimistic look.
Well, he could be glancing at his Super Bowl ring from when he won one. It doesn't have to be specifically this year. I think he wants to spend time with his Twins. I'll be curious whether he's got a really beautiful home here in southeast Denver. I wonder, near Cherry Hills. He likes playing. He belongs to Cherry Hills. He also likes going down to Castle Pines. He might stay here for a while. I had a feeling he might move quickly, but I think with the way this year is ending, that he might stay here for a while and let the Twins sort of go to school here.
The Twins will be 5 in March, and so Marshall and Mosley will be able to remember it if Peyton wins that Super Bowl ring this year.
Perfect. And then one other response that we had was from E. Hagland, and he says he'll be humming the nationwide jingle as he polishes his Super Bowl 50 MVP trophy.
I found it funny that in doing my research and just being curious, that the oldest quarterback to ever play in the Super Bowl is John Elway, and people kind of know that. He was 38 and something like 94 days, and he was the oldest MVP in the history of the Super Bowl. So Peyton Manning could be the older than John Elway when he plays in the Super Bowl, and he could be the oldest MVP.
I'm in the moment, and I'm just worried about Peyton winning against the Patriots rather than polishing his Super Bowl ring.
Okay, now a question.
All right, and then now we have one question, and it is from CO Sports Stakes, and they want to know, will the Broncos rush for 100 to 150 yards this Sunday?
If the Broncos do not rush for 100 yards, it's going to be extremely difficult, if not impossible, for them to win the game. They don't have to rush for 150, but if it's 22 carries for 75 yards, that sounds like it's playing into Tom Brady and the Patriots' hands.
I had kind of forgotten this note, but it's a little bit skewed, as my friend Lewis Black would say. But the Broncos rushed for 179 yards in the previous game. Now,
Hightower went out, and they rushed much better.
48 yards of that was C.J. Anderson in overtime going for the touchdown. But if they could duplicate those numbers in 4 quarters of 135 yards, I think they would be in good shape. Because
if they rush for 135 yards, as you suggest, I would say that's 80% chance or more. I'd say it's 90% chance or more the Broncos win the game.
Because one of two things will happen. Either they're rushing for a good average,
right,
that they're hanging on to the football, or B, they've gotten off
to a lead and they're controlling the clock.
And that they've gotten 2 or 3 long runs from either Hillman or C.J. Anderson. And I think that even though this is a one block or one cutback scheme, that I think Hillman could get outside against their outside players, because Hightower is the only one. And even though Mayo is on injured reserve, he was not a major force for them this year. But their linebacking core basically is Collins and Hightower. And the other guys are not very good. Madison, thank you. Madison Faulkner. And she'll be back tomorrow with us. That segment brought to you by John Elway Cadillac of Park Meadows, Colorado's #1 Cadillac dealership.
When you go to buy a car, what do you really want? You probably want a lot of cars to choose from. And you want the dealership's best price. Not some starting price or target price, the best price. And you want it immediately, not after hours of negotiating. And you want a salesperson who doesn't get paid more if you spend more. Because, well, you don't want to spend more. Well, you're in luck. John Elway wants all of those things too. Better yet, John Elway wants you to have all of those things too. Come see us or click on johnelwaychevrolet.com.
We're going to go right to pick six.
6 picks, pick 6.
6 things that have to happen in order for the Broncos to win on Sunday. Tomorrow we'll give you 6 things for the Patriots to win. How's that for symmetry? I'm starting this first. Number 6 would be 4 sacks, 10 hurries on Brady. 4 sacks would be a sack from Von Miller, maybe one from DeMarcus Ware, one from a cornerback or a linebacker blitzing, and one from, I think, Derek Wolfe celebrating his new contract. He seems to be playing renewed at the end of the year. And if they get those hurries, as Jackie Mullen even admitted from Boston, if they get the hurries, even though Tom Brady gets the football off very quickly, that he then looks for Gronk down the field. And so if he doesn't find somebody open right away, then panic is not the right word. He's been around too long to panic, but he kind of settles in the offense because he's not going to move the pocket.
He throws that same bounce pass. He doesn't throw it out of bounds. He throws it into the ground.
Yeah, because he's like Manning. He doesn't want to get hit. Number 5, missed it. 3 interceptions. They're
3
win.
interceptions? You don't ask for much.
Well, I'm saying
3
how they can win
picks?
if they could get 3 picks. I don't think that's going to happen. But if
4 sacks, 10 hurries, 3 picks. Well, that's Broncos 41-3.
6 things that have to happen in order for the Broncos to win. Well, if they get 3 interceptions, they're going to win the game. Because one of those will be taken back all the way. Because the other thing Tom Brady doesn't do is chase anybody that's intercepted a pass.
I can't wait for number 4.
Number 4 is only 1 drop pass.
What?
There were 7 drop passes last week. Peyton Manning would have had if they had 1 drop pass last week, Peyton Manning would have had close to 300 yards.
I did see this. Charlie Casserly, who used to be a GM in the league and now works for the NFL Network, said he broke down the film of Brady Manning in their playoff game last weekend. And he said Manning played better than Brady, but Manning suffered through the drop. So maybe you're right.
Okay. Number 3, Von Miller, big game.
Good idea.
If he has a big game, then he's in Tom Brady's face. He's creating hurries. He has a chance at a big game because this is not a very good offensive line. It's kind of It's kind of on the same plateau. That's not the word I'm looking for. On the same level as the Broncos' offensive line.
I think it's worse.
Yeah, they've gone through like 13 guys.
I mean, they've suffered more injuries, so that's why I think it's worse.
If Von Miller is going to have a big game, this would be it. And again, I'd like to see him move around side to side. I'd like to see
the way
him,
you think on that, too.
I'd like to see him do that twist move more often. Number 2, and you and I just talked about it. If C.J. Anderson, Ronnie Hillman run for around 150 yards
combined,
they'll be in the game. They'll be right there in the end and have a chance. And number 1 on my list is if Peyton Manning can throw 2 touchdown passes, no interception, he's sacked once, and he doesn't fumble and give away the ball.
That's a good
then
formula.
they'll win this game. That's how they win the game. Your answer.
You were very specific. I'm kind of more of a big picture guy. Number 6, make Gronk mad. We've talked about this. Go ahead, hit him low, and get into his head. Number 5, make Brady whine. The Broncos have said he's a crybaby. If they knock him down, not even sack him, just get in his face, he'll start complaining and he'll get a little bit rattled. Number 4, rush 20-plus times. Whether they're gaining 3 yards a carry or 4.5 yards a carry, the Broncos have to continue to run the football so they can control the clock. Number 3, get Chris Harris healthy. There was some talk at Broncos camp today that the Broncos are, despite what Kubiak says, very concerned about how healthy Chris Harris will be for this game. So he needs to be healthy and he needs to play well. Number 2, I believe this from great coaches I've known. Be bold in big moments. If it's 4th and 1 and it's a tie game and the Broncos are at the 20-yard line, don't settle for the field goal. Go ahead and go for it on 4th and 1. And number 1, win the 4th quarter. I am convinced that this will be a game in the 4th quarter, and whoever plays better at the end will win the football game.
And we'll address the other side tomorrow, and we've got some special surprises for you tomorrow. Let's finish the program today with some rapid fire, if I can.
Okay.
Ask you some questions. We'll each take 15 seconds or 20 seconds. Ryan in Buffalo has hired his longtime administrative assistant as a qualities control coach.
Yeah.
Is this the start of a trend, or was this a special situation?
It's he hired the first full-time female coach, and I think that it's a trend. And I've heard some old school sports commentators say this is disgusting. No. It's going to happen more and more and more. I've heard this idea when Becky Hammon became a coach, a full-time coach in the NBA, that in any organization, if you add a female to a predominantly male organization, you notch back the testosterone just enough that there's a little more communication and a little less chest beating. And I think that could work well in football as well.
Well, what we saw, and I'm going to shift this a little bit. The NFL hired a woman official this year.
Right.
Did you hear anything about her all year long?
I have not.
That's good, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
That nobody went, oh, the woman.
Yeah.
I think this is good. Quality control means exactly what it says. You're looking at analytics, you're looking at making sure the film's working. That I think that's a role that someone who is not a get down in the trenches kind of person can do, man or female. This year, Gary Kubiak kind of jumped out there and got an analytics guy. We don't know exactly what he's accomplished, if anything, this year, but I think you're opening up your mind to novel ideas. I like it. The NFL plans to put a team in London in the next 6 years. Are you for that or against that?
I'm absolutely positively for it. When I went to the Olympics in London in 2012, I guess I should not have been, but I was shocked at how much NFL interest there is in London. Would it be a pain to travel there? Yes. Would some players complain about that being their home team? Yes. But I think it's got to happen, and it will happen.
I totally agree with you. I've now been to London for 3 or 4 games over a period of time. And I was there when the Broncos were playing the 49ers, and I was impressed by how far they've come in terms of it being an expatriate. And I don't mean patriots. I mean either military people or Americans visiting Europe. Now young people in England and in Europe are really into the game of NFL football.
You're absolutely
They kind of
right.
realize that there's an alternative to
soccer,
European football. And Wembley Stadium is a really nice place to have a game.
Yes, it is.
I think there should be not only a game there, there's now going to be a couple of games a year. I would much rather see the NFL put a team there than Mexico City. Mexico City Stadium is awful. I've been there, whatever, and that's a dangerous place in Mexico City where the stadium's located. So I think London is the next spot, and there'll be a Super Bowl there one day, and I think it's a great idea.
The London Raiders.
I would ask you this: we end today with 1 minute. Give me 2 reasons Carolina can lose to Arizona, because everybody seems to be saying that that's a toss-up much more than this game. Surveys are showing 51 to 49%. It's a 3.5 point spread. How much of a chance do you give Arizona? We'll give our picks
I
tomorrow.
give Arizona a real chance because I think Carson Palmer has had a better year than Cam Newton. They've both been outstanding, and Carson Palmer has more weapons. Now, Carolina has the better defense, but if Arizona doesn't come out and make mistakes like Seattle did early, then Arizona's right there in the game.
I would just add, though, on the other side, I really, my initial feeling is Carolina was going to win. I'm going to stick with it. I switched for your sake last week to Seattle. Cam Newton's had more experience in playoffs than Carson Palmer. And they're playing in Carolina. I think it's a good home field. I think that Carolina doesn't have as many problems with Arizona as New England will have with the Denver Broncos. That's going to wrap it up for today. This is the Sports Show. You can watch us in a number of different places. YouTube, we have our own YouTube channel. You can listen to our iTunes podcast. You can go to our Facebook page, the sports page. You can tweet us, and we'll take some more thoughts of what you think Peyton Manning will be doing next year at the sports show. You can also go to woodypage.com. It'll lead you to watching this show whenever you want to. And of course, denverpost.com. There's a special place you can go watch the sports show. You can see the clips all over the sports section, and you can watch the show when you want to. For Mark Kiszla, I'm Woody Paige. Stay tuned for Molly Hughes, and we appreciate you spending time with us on the sports show as presented by the Denver Post.
Hello, I'm Molly Hughes in the Denver Post newsroom. Denver's first homicide of the year appears to be at the hands of a parolee who was touted as a success story by the Department of Corrections. Calvin Johnson is facing first-degree murder charges for the New Year's Day stabbing of a man near 10th and Acoma. Johnson's case was cited just 2 weeks earlier at a Joint Judiciary Committee hearing touting the successful treatment of mentally ill parolees and prisoners under a new effort by the DOC Executive Director, Rick Ramish. As first reported by the online news source called The Complete Colorado, Johnson's parole officer had collaborated with mental health officials and community-based organizations to rehabilitate Johnson and prepare him to be successful back out in society after his release. All of this, even though Johnson himself threatened to be aggressive and reoffend because he didn't want to be out of prison. 2 weeks later, Johnson allegedly stabbed and killed a 50-year-old man just a block and a half away from the Denver parole offices. The DOC says at the time of that committee hearing, Johnson was considered a success story. He's now back behind bars being held without bond.